Okay, so yeah. So now in the last 20 minutes of the fast, you can see everyone's counting the let's see last 18 minutes, yeah, 18 minutes of the fast. I thought of learning a few of the halachot until Arvit. Yeah. A few of the halachot of the 3 weeks, but beforehand, a small idea, a short idea for Yud Tammuz. So we know that five things happened in Yud Tammuz, right? The Luchot Abrit were broken when Moshe, the tablets, when they came down from Mount Sinai. The biggest thing was that the walls to Jerusalem were broken when in the second temple. Titus was outside, and they were there for quite a few months, I think about 5 months, more or less. And then Yud Tammuz, they managed to break one of the walls to come in. And in those days, even today, the wall that's the thing that gives you protection, especially when you have a small army against a big army. So the wall is the only thing which stops them, prevents them from coming in. In one of the stages, Titus, the Romans, they almost gave up. It's August, maybe July, even June can be very hot outside, and they had to cut trees from miles away, miles around. They had to cut trees for themselves, and every time they need more wood to cook food, they have to walk far and long distance. And they say, it's just hard. Let's go back to Rome. It's a tiny city. Let's go back to Rome. He says, let's just wait a bit more, a bit more. So really breaking the walls gave them the courage to continue into Jerusalem. One of the things which happened is Batal HaTamid. They stopped bringing Korban Tamid, right? Stop bringing Korban Tamid. And although it's Korban Tamid, unfortunately, we didn't bring Korbanot for almost 2,000 years. I think there's something very relevant we can learn from this story. Now, when did it happen? When did they stop bringing Tamid? They didn't have more animals. Why didn't they have more? Why on Yud Tammuz? So maybe some say because of the war and because of the walls being broken in. They ate animals, maybe. I would think they would eat animals much, much beforehand. People were dying there from starvation. I would think they would eat animals months beforehand. Why in Nizayin Tammuz? So according to one of the explanations, the story of the Korban Tamid happens maybe 150 years beforehand, much before Titus manages to break into Jerusalem. We heard about the Hashmonaim, right? We heard about the Hashmonaim, Hanukkah, the Maccabees. And on Hanukkah, we celebrate and we light candles for the Maccabees, kind of the Hashmonaim coming into the temple and cleaning it and puring, making everything tahor. And it's a big celebration. We know that our sages weren't so keen about the Hashmonaim. Okay, so we celebrate Hanukkah, but for afterwards, the Hashmonaim started going to the non-correct paths. Let's put it in a nice word. And they became kings. And as kings, they wanted to be also the kings and also the Kohanim. But mainly when you have two brothers, so started fighting, and there was a question: who will be the king of Jerusalem? So we have two brothers. One of them is called Hyrcanus, and one of them is called Aristobulus. It's interesting. They have Greek names. They also had Jewish names, but they prefer to call themselves on the Greek names. So Hyrcanus and Aristobulus. Hyrcanus is inside in Jerusalem, and Aristobulus is outside. Every day, the people inside from Hyrcanus used to, from the wall, send down. Why was Hyrcanus outside? There was a war. There was a war. He tried to get into Jerusalem, and Hyrcanus tried to prevent him. So there's a war between them. That's how, by the way, we won't go into it now, but they brought the Romans to help them. That's how the Romans started coming into the politics of Israel. So two brothers, two Jewish brothers, and they are fighting on Jerusalem who will be the king of Jerusalem. But Korbanot, everyone thinks Korbanot are important. So the people from in Jerusalem, every day they send money down from the wall and get two sheep up instead. One day, there was an old person who probably knew of Mayavanit. What's the Greek wisdom? It's a good question. What's Greek philosophy, whatever it is? He tells them, don't you know that while you are working here, while every day that you give them those the sheep, that's what keeps them here. That's what helps them with the war. So the next day they put a pig instead in the basket, and on the way up he puts his feet in the wall, and the land of Israel like shakes from what happened. And that's when they didn't have a Korban Tamid. Okay, so since that, Chazal had a few decrees. One of them, you aren't allowed to grow pigs in Israel. Maybe at all you aren't allowed to grow pigs. But you can see, I think, two things which you can ask from that. First, why did they continue to give the Tamid, bring the Korban Tamid? What's so important about the Tamid that even when you're in a war, even when you have your enemies outside, you still make sure to have Korban Tamid? It's honest. So they say, oh, we're honest. We don't have any animals. That's it. What can we do? So why continue giving Korban Tamid? The power of the Tamid is the continuing. Okay, continuing the power of the Tamid. It's not such a right. Yeah, there's a machloket. What's the most important pasuk? And one of them brings it to the Korban Tamid of every day, every day, every day something happens, and you can learn from here. For the positive aspect, if you want to be great, let's be like a Korban Tamid. Do something small. Korban Tamid wasn't a big Korban; it was relatively a small Korban. It happens every day, every day, every day. So if we take one Mishnah, one Halacha to learn every day, that's something really amazing. Another question you can ask, also the ones outside, they are Kohanim too. They know how Korban Tamid is important. What? Is it important only for the people in Jerusalem? Isn't Korban Tamid important also for the people out of Jerusalem? They're Kohanim, right? They're Kohanim too, some of them at least. They want also to make sure there's Korban Tamid. How come they, and they know that you aren't allowed to bring something else as a Korban. So how come they change? How come they give something else? That I'm not sure how much it affected the temple service. So obviously, it affected the temple service because there's no korban. I'm not sure how much it affected the moral of the people in Jerusalem or but it's also the people outside korban tamid belongs also to them. I think what you can see is something which unfortunately we see it as a known aspect of human beings that sometimes honor, kavod, right? We want to be honored. And why should he be honored? Why should he get it? Sometimes we do things out of the order. So the ones outside, they wanted to be the Kohanim ruling Jerusalem, and in the name of they want to be the Kohanim, bring sacrifices to Beit HaMikdash, they stopped their brothers from bringing korban into Beit HaMikdash, and just shows us of the nature of human. And that's also something which, on the last moments of Yudzayin Tamuz, we can say, how can we do tshuva on that? Okay, so we're starting now the 3 weeks. We actually started the 3 weeks last night, according to many poskim. And we will have just a few minutes of the halachot of the 3 weeks. What can you do? What can't you do on the 3 weeks? We mentioned on Shabbat that for the ones who went to the late minyan, that in the Gemara, we don't find so much the 3 weeks as being the 3 weeks. We have Mishenichnas Av Mematim B'Simcha. From the month of Av, you don't do things of happiness. Okay, you don't buy new houses, you don't buy new clothes, and you don't. I don't know. From Yudzayin Tammuz, it became more of a later custom that since it's between two fasts which are close to each other, they are connected to each other. So we have a halacha of Bein HaMetzarim, of Shlosh HaShavuot. And because it's more of a minhag, we find quite a few differences between Ashkenazim, who generally speaking are more machmir, they are more stringent, Sfaradim, who are more lenient, and Yemenites, who are even more lenient. The Yemenites took more or less the halacha from the Gemara, and the Ashkenazim were very stringent. It could be because of the history. Ashkenazim, people in Ashkenaz, in Poland, in Germany, in Lithuania, and other places, many years had suffered. And they really felt the Churban maybe more than other places, the Christianity, and they didn't have always such a good time, while Jews in other places many times, not always, but many times had it easier. So the Ashkenazi Jews found it more important to mourn and have different minhagim during the 3 weeks. One of the common minhagim is not to see Shechianu during the 3 weeks. Okay, so we shouldn't say Shechianu during the 3 weeks. The reason for that is that Shechianu, the meaning of Shechianu is Shechianu v'kiyimanu. He made us live and brought us to this time. And we're happy we're alive, but we aren't happy of the 3 weeks. Zman hazeh. For this time, we can't say Zman hazeh. It's a bracha we say usually on holidays, on Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. So we don't say Shechianu on the 3 weeks. We try not to say Shechianu on the 3 weeks. But if there's a mitzvah that if you don't do it now, you won't be able to do it, so you say Shechianu. An example for it is Pidyon Ben. People, the father has a baby, and Pidyon Ben is in the 3 weeks. If you won't say Shechianu now, he won't say Shechianu. You missed the opportunity. Brit Milah, for the opinions who say Shechianu, it's a machloket on a Brit Milah. So you say, oh, so you say, okay. So let's say if you have a new fruit, keep it for Shabbat. Okay, keep it for Shabbat. Say Shechianu on Shabbat. If now you went to somewhere, you went to some event of work, you went to an event of work, and they brought special fruit there, and there's a fruit they have never seen beforehand. And if you won't have the fruit now, you won't have it anymore. Okay, you won't find it. So then you can say Shechianu. Okay, then you can say Shechianu. So we try not to say Shechianu in the 3 weeks unless it's Shabbat. Okay, on Shabbat, as we mentioned, Shabbat, you can say Shechianu on Shabbat. There's many times we have to buy new clothes. So can we buy new clothes on the 3 weeks? So first we need to differentiate between the 3 weeks and the 9 days that are part of the 3 weeks. The 9 days we try not to buy new clothes. We don't do things which are extraordinary on the 9 days. On the 3 weeks, or the 2 weeks before, a week and a half before the 9 days, you can buy new things. The problem is with Shechianu. Okay, so first you can buy things that you don't say Shechianu on them. For example, on socks. Who says Shechianu on socks? Okay, t-shirts. No one says Shechianu on t-shirts. So you can buy all of those things during the 3 weeks. In the past, they used to say Shechianu when you buy something. Okay, when you buy something. So obviously, if you buy, say, a new jacket, even if you're going to wear it in 2 weeks, but in 3 weeks, but they used to say Shechianu when you buy it. Okay, when you buy it. So okay, so therefore you can't buy also new things during the 3 weeks. But today the common minhag is to say Shechianu when we buy something which is important. Okay, it's something special. Not a t-shirt or something. It's important, a jacket, a suit. And we say Shechianu the first time when we wear it. Okay, so therefore we can buy it during the 3 weeks because there's no Shechianu. So that's the question of Shechianu.
It's only applies to clothes, nothing else like buying a car or something.
Also a car. On a car we say Shechianu. It says if it's used, a few people use it, so we might even say it. So we shouldn't buy a car during the 3 weeks. Cutting hair. Okay, so I'm trying to think what to cut hair. So cutting hair in the halacha is generally speaking seen as something which is festive. Okay, something festive. Could be because you don't do it every day. Okay, when teenagers cut their hair, say, "Wow, you cut their hair," and some of them have the customs of hitting each other, but it's something special. Okay, so cutting the hair, it's something special, so you don't cut the hair. As we said, there's minhagim. There's minhagim. Most of the Ashkenazim and quite a few of the Sfaradim don't cut the hair even of children during the whole 3 weeks. There are different minhagim. So if you see someone cutting the hair this week, so you know the different minhagim. But most of the Ashkenazim don't cut the hair all the 3 weeks.
During the 3 weeks, 9 days, I don't. That's something that's.
Because there's a few minhagim in it, when to start, there's a few minhagim. But the common Ashkenazi minhag is not to cut the hair at all during the 3 weeks. Even shaving for Shabbat, you don't do it. That's a common Ashkenazi minhag. What you can do, and that will be the last halacha because we need to run through a bit. If someone has a long mustache, and the mustache is getting in his food, and it's bothering him to eat. So cutting the mustache isn't because of happiness. It's just something practical you need to do in order to eat. So someone, and that's also during the 9 days. If it's bothering him, or if someone needs for medical reasons to shave, like someone is doing a small operation, he needs to shave. Obviously, he can do that. It's not something of happiness, so he can do that. What? There are people with skin disease. Yeah, skin disease. They can also, if it's a medical issue, they can cut it. And also, women can cut the hair if it's too long and it's getting out of the kisui washer. They can cut it. Also, the regular places where they shave, they can also cut. And we have a fast which will bring us bring the galut to the end and bring us geula.